93.2, we're going to do a fun thing. We've got about a half hour left, and the camera is going to stay on Lance's drawing pad for the whole time while we argue, and you're going to watch a head study go from just blank paper to the finished drawing in roughly 30 minutes.
At this time, do you want to talk about the PayPal or anything like that?
Oh, and if you like this or any other part of it, or even if you don't like it but you like giving people money, give us money at Lance, capital L, versus Rick, capital R, at gmail.com. That's our PayPal account. Right. That helps us bring you this fine whatever it is.
Is there anything you want to say, as you're setting up, Lance, in terms of what we're going to be doing?
I'm going to use a very large pad to do this drawing, and no, there's nothing that I have to say. Sorry.
Okay.
All right.
What do you use this drawing for? Is this going to be for like?
No, I'm just gonna.
It's like a little art lesson. It's a half-hour art lesson.
All right.
How to draw a head super fast.
All right.
And I'm going to cut.
All right. What's our topic?
You wanted to talk about Tommy Robinson.
Okay, yeah. So you snowed me a little bit on Tommy Robinson, in that guy has a long history of, he's like a mix of soccer hooligan
Lower your head.
and kind of anti-Islamic activist. And so I would recommend, as I always do, read up on Tommy Robinson, because his story is long and intricate. He's had a history. The guy has lived a long life of going from regular guy to pissed off guy with some arrests in between. And I recommend Wikipedia. I always recommend Wikipedia. I also recommend Wikipedia, well, for just about anything. And one reason I recommend Wikipedia is that when they look at,
Don't move your head, okay?
okay, when they sample articles for accuracy, they come out with the same level of accuracy as the Encyclopedia Britannica, 99.5% accuracy. And one reason that is because they have the same kind of arguments we have, but on paper. People sending messages, editors arguing with each other about whether facts should be included or not, whether they're actually facts and whether they're substantiated enough, whether they have good references. They want to make it like a regular encyclopedia where everything in it is 100% true.
Except that they attack conservatives. They're not, conservatives don't like Wikipedia.
Yeah, but the conservatives are free to attack back in the
Well,
talk.
I mean, it just. Can I respond to the
Sure.
Tommy Robinson? One of the things that the English government did to Tommy Robinson. Okay, here's the thing. Tommy Robinson was the head of the English Defence League, and when people are angry with him, that's the thing they seem to be the most angry about. And
Well, explain what the English Defence League
I'm
is.
going to.
Okay.
The English Defence League was formed to combat Muslim rape gangs that had been raping thousands of English girls. And the trouble is that, and they've been imposing, there were various things, they've been imposing Sharia law in certain areas of certain cities. And so the English working class formed the English Defence League. And the problem with the English Defence League is that they have resorted to violence. There's been violence around that group. And Tommy Robinson was one of the founders. And because of the violence, he felt that the English Defence League had become everything that the haters, that the left-wingers were saying he was. In other words, if you hate Tommy Robinson, it's because the British government wanted to brand him as an Islamophobe that hated Muslims and just wanted to terrorize them and was basically a thug. And he thought that the English Defense League was bearing that out. So he left, he broke with the English Defense League. He is in favor of nonviolent reaction to the problems that Islam is bringing to Britain. He wants to use the law, use the system. And the reason that he went to jail is because the British government has been attempting to smear him. They got him on some kind of, some kind of business thing.
Mortgage fraud.
Yeah, something that was trumped up. And so he went, they tried to smear him. And so he did go to jail for that. But I know, unlike Rick, that was just the British government trying to smear the guy.
He wasn't born named Tommy Robinson. He took the name Tommy Robinson from a famous soccer hooligan.
Okay, I don't care.
See, he had a history of, he was kind of a lad, right? He was kind of the English equivalent of a good old boy before he became...
He was a tough guy from a tough part of town, and...
So he had some scrapes with the law, minor...
But that's, unfortunately, those are the people that are going to save England, if anybody will. Because the average English person, it doesn't have the balls to stick up for their country. They're too polite, they're too well-behaved, and Britain is going to be an Islamic state. So it's going to take the English soccer hooligan to fight to save Britain. What is left of the manhood of Britain is embodied in Tommy Robinson, and I hope to God he succeeds. Now, recently, he proved that the English government was setting him up because he caught a BBC journalist actually attempting to bribe one of his followers into saying that he may have done something immoral or sexually harassed her. And he got that on tape. So if you are going to look up Tommy Robinson and you think that he hasn't been set up by the British government, that Rick is right, he's just this bad guy that needs to be ignored. No, he's been set up. Look up Tommy Robinson's interview with the BBC, where he proved with a BBC reporter right there. He showed him the tape, and of him. This very reporter was shown the tape of him offering a bribe to one of Tommy Robinson's workers and friends. And offering the bribe, and then Tommy Robinson went to BBC headquarters and broadcasted it on a giant billboard right in front of their headquarters to thousands of his reporters, of his followers. So go ahead, Rick. Why is that a bad thing?
No, I'm just saying that you can. Look it up.
Okay.
He's got a video, and then there's others. The guy, I haven't seen the video. I haven't watched it, but the BBC guy did apologize for some of the stuff he did, though not exactly that.
I'm glad he apologized, Rick.
Well, but I'm just saying that there was the BBC reporter did some, I don't know. Anyway, just
is culpable. He wouldn't have apologized if he hadn't done something. Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily the thing you're describing, but he did something.
Well, you didn't see that. You're talking about something you know nothing about. You didn't even see it. So why you automatically have to warn people that this guy was a bit of a lad? Yeah, he was. He was.
Because his first arrest was in 2005 for a domestic dispute with his girlfriend, for instance. But long before he was politically active. Anyway, if you want to look up the main thing that Tommy Robinson,
don't move your head.
Okay,
tilt it down.
Has been, I think, going after is the Rotherham rape and sexual grooming child assault gang.
Yeah.
Rotherham is this town. Rotherham, sorry, in Yorkshire.
Okay.
And Wikipedia has a long ass article about that thing. that I think is reasonably well balanced, though you can, after reading that, you can go and you can read other stuff. And it also has an article on, you mentioned there being no-go areas in London because they're under Sharia law.
They're
And
trying to impose it, yes.
yeah, but actually, the deal is that mostly comes from right-wing pundits and sources, and that there are parts of London
No,
districts.
actually-
Wait, no, hold on. Let me say, and then you can
All right,
refute.
all right.
That are about 30% Muslim. But it doesn't mean there are no-go areas under Sharia law, because they're 70% non-Muslim. And if you look at subway, the number they can't be no-go areas because more than 2/3 of the people in these areas aren't Muslim. And if you look at subway ridership out of these areas and various reports, you can be perfectly fine being a non-Muslim living in these areas. They're not no-go areas, or they'd be, anyway, you can refute, but
All right, so
and
again,
you can read about it on Wikipedia.
Again, Rick is talking about something, for some reason, he's disagreeing with me on a subject he knows nothing about. If you, there is a fellow named Chowdhury, I think it's Adnan Chowdhury, who was the head of a gang of Islamists, and what they would do is they would go down the street harassing English people that weren't following Sharia. And this went on unchallenged. And what it is, in spite of the benign situation that Rick describes, people were beaten up if they did something and intimidated, if they drank alcohol, or if the women were not dressed in Islamic fashion. And Rick's okay with that because he's ignorant, he's a Democrat, and so he had to read Wikipedia and refute this. And so you play right into their hands, Rick.
No.
See, this is what bothers me. Don't interrupt me. I'm trying to save this country from gangs of thugs that there are films. Chowdhury made the films himself in these areas where he would say, this is a Sharia area, and in this area of London, you have to behave according to what we think is appropriate according to Islam.
What's Chowdhury up to now?
Chowdhury.
What's Chowdhury up to now?
Chowdhury was eventually imprisoned for supporting, getting out of control. He was so much in favor of Islamism, and he was given a light sentence. He was treated like a king in prison because most of the prisoners now in Britain are Islamic, and they treated him very well, and now he's out on the street again, back to his old tricks. And the problem is that because Rick has to refute me, I am trying to save this country, Britain, from a terrible, terrible fate, the fate that destroyed all the Middle Eastern countries. And Rick is going to Wikipedia and saying, oh no, this guy, Tommy Robinson, he's a jailbird, and you can't trust him, and actually everything's just fine in these no-go zones. Everything's just fine. Why is it? Are you just trying to win the debate?
I'm not saying they're fine, but
No,
but if you
I'm
go
trying
and you
to
get
do the
the
right-
actual information.
So am I lying? Do you want to see the films of Chowdhury harassing people?
No, I believe you, but that doesn't make it a no. You just said that your neighborhood, you're a white guy living in a neighborhood that's racially mixed. You said that, 10 years ago you had a gang war between black drug gangs and Mexican drug gangs, right?
Yeah.
All right, so
10 or
does that
15
mean
years
that your neighborhood is a no-go zone for whitey?
Rick, I'm not even going to dignify this.
But it's the same-
No, really,
you've
really, no. I mean, it disgusts me.
No, you've got...
No. Listen, you asked me a question. Now I'm going to answer it. They are imposing Sharia in London, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's reflexive, if you're giving this any thought, or if you just think, well, you're on a show and you have to argue with Lance. So now, if he says something, you have to
when you
argue.
say there are no-go zones,
There are no-go zones in Britain, Rick.
when you go to
They're lying to you. I can show you the no-go zones. I can show you the films. Do you want a break and you can look at some films where people are being beaten up? If they show ankle, if they're being beaten up,
Okay,
if they
sure.
dress
But, I mean, it
immodestly,
doesn't-
do you want to see the films, Rick? They're all over Europe.
No, we got to keep going, says the director.
Okay, then why? I just don't understand. You can't just accept that what I'm saying is true. You
No,
have to
because
argue.
it's bullshit, because
It's bullshit. It's bullshit that there are no-go zones in Europe, Rick.
in England, yeah.
Okay, that's it. Stop. No, we're not going further. We are not going further.
All right, stop, because we'll save the... Why? Because we want to get the drawing in.
No. You're telling me there are no-go zones in England?
Yeah.
Okay, fine, stop, because this guy is so badly informed. This is just terrible. This is just terrible. It's not right. It's for you are supporting the Islamization of Europe. You're part of it. You're a dupe. You're actually fighting for Islam. That's what you're doing.
No, but
You're so badly informed and confused that they are using you to turn Europe into an Islamic continent. You're telling me there's no-go zones. Let's look up no-go zones during the break. Turn the camera off. This guy needs education. This is just terrible.
Where do you get your news, Rick?
when it's something, that I want fairly objective stuff, I'll start with Wikipedia. And usually end with Wikipedia because I'm lazy. But usually Wikipedia is thorough enough that I get a fair idea of...
Yeah, you're convinced that there's no-go zones in Europe. That's how well informed you are.
All right, show me, frickin'.
Jesus. I don't even know where to begin. There are thousands of articles about them. Here, let's go to YouTube, and you can see Adnan Chaudhry doing his thing.
I'm gonna cut.
All right, 93.3. So Lance had me listen to some video, and I think mostly our disagreement is over what a no-go zone is. I agree that there are heavily Muslim communities or neighborhoods or districts in London and other cities, big and small across Europe, where there's a strong Muslim presence and more extreme Muslims they'll make trouble. They'll attempt to impose their standards in sometimes violent ways. And it reminds me of gang shit, where you've got, gangs trying to impose their authority, making it, somewhat dangerous in some neighborhoods. But according to what I read, not in the video I saw, but that even in the most heavily Muslim areas, there's still only 30% of the population. So they can make trouble, but there's still a majority non-Muslim population. And by no means are they operating under Sharia law, though there will be some assholes in those neighborhoods who attempt to, will threaten people on Sharia-istic terms. Whether you want to call that a no-go zone or whether you want to call it a zone in which Muslim gang boys attempt to, intimidate and are violent to people. It's a matter of degree.
Well, here's a name that I want everybody to look up. It's Rahim Qassam.
Is this the guy who was interviewed on Tucker Carlson?
He's an ex-Muslim, and he wrote a book called No-Go Zones, and you can read for yourself about what's going on in these areas of Europe, and it is a very frightening development, and I don't know why Rick feels the need to play it down and make it seem unimportant.
I'm not saying it's unimportant, but I'm
like
not saying it's a frickin' 100% fucking Sharia empire in parts of London, which is just not true at all.
It certainly is.
How long before no-go zones here in the U.S.?
Your Rahim Kazan guy works for Breitbart London.
Oh, well, that means everything he says must be a lie.
No, but it's...
Read the book, guys. It's called No-Go Zones, Raheem Kassam, and it will educate you in a way that apparently you badly need to be educated, because Rick can't accept the truth. He can't accept reality.
You don't have Sharia empires in neighborhoods across fucking London.
Yes, you do.
All right. So, anyway, we disagree. Let's move on.
So real quick, you were going to say
But
something? In the
what's-
U.S., how long before?
Yeah, I mean, they've already elected their first congressional people. Omar and Tlaib were elected in Michigan and in Minnesota, and they've already started to impose Islamic policies in the United States.
Like what? What policies? Just besides being anti-Israel, for
Well,
which
that's
they're
a good
getting a lot
start,
of shit.
and anti-Semitism, which doesn't seem to bother you one bit.
We already talked about that. Let's
No,
move on to the
but
next
what I'm
issue.
saying is, why isn't that a good example of Muslim policies, Rick? I mean, it's like, what policies are they doing besides wanting to destroy Israel? Like that means nothing to a good Democrat, right?
Let's move on to the next shit.
That
'cause we already
doesn't- that
have
doesn't
this
mean a
fucking
thing.
argument.
No, but I mean, you lost it. You lost that fucking argument.
No, I agreed with you somewhat, but like, do they want to destroy Israel? I don't
Yes,
think.
yes.
I don't know.
There's a map in the Palestinian representatives where Israel is not on the map. It just says Palestine there. That's in her office.
All right, that's not good. But let's go on to the next fucking thing.
All right. Let's go on. What do you want to talk about?
What's the next?
Cohen?
No, I don't want to talk about Cohen. Oh, I mean, we can, but
Don't
it's
move
just
your head.
it's just
Don't move your
reporting
head.
the fucking
Don't move your
news.
head.
Subpoenas?
Oh, all right. You want to talk about the Democrats have subpoenaed documents from 81 different entities regarding, I guess, potential Trump corruption of various types.
Yeah, how do you feel about that, Rick? You're probably really happy, right?
Oh, I love a good fishing expedition. That's fine.
Okay,
Let's
so you
see.
call it a fishing expedition.
Well, I know that implies that I think it's just a blind search. No, I mean, Trump has been kind of operating. I mean, he's spent his whole life kind of doing what he wants, whether it is ethical.
You have proof of this, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Okay, can you show us the proof
What are we looking for?
that Trump is a lawbreaker? What?
I didn't say that. I just said, well, Trump has been involved in 4,000 lawsuits.
Okay, as is every other billionaire.
Jerry cookies.
They're on the bench over there. No, not 4,000 lawsuits.
No, it's common for people that have that much money to get sued. I've known very wealthy people that get sued all the time.
You've
So-
been involved in one lawsuit. I've been involved in one lawsuit.
No, but I've known people with great wealth, and they get sued all the time. It's part of life if you're a rich person.
Not 4,000 times.
Some, I'm sure. It's very common. He's got.
Anyway, he's operated on the,
So
on the fringes of...
you love the idea that the government will step in, even when there's no crime, and just demand and harass every person he's ever known, basically, to get anything they can on him. That's the way you think government should be.
Sure.
Okay, so Rick.
I mean, there's never been a president like Trump
Do you
before.
think it would be okay if the Republicans said, we don't like Rick, and so we're going to demand papers from every person he's ever known, including his wife and kids?
If I have a big-time government job, yeah.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that anybody that wants to run for office has to be prepared, because the Democrats are going to, they're going to take every person they've ever known and try to break them financially with legal harassment. Because that's what they're doing. What happens is this.
You know,
They,
all right.
no, let me continue. What happens is they've sent out 80 subpoenas. All 80 of these people, some of whom don't even know Trump. They're just people. They're just they're people that did work for his campaign, did polling, or just people he hired to work in companies that he hired that had nothing to do with him. His wife, his kids. They all of these people have to get lawyered up now, and it's going to cost them millions and millions of dollars to defend themselves. And no law, no crime, nothing's been found. So what you're saying is it's good for the government to break people if they don't like
No, it's good for the government to know what's going on. In college, I took the test to get hired by the NSA, the National Security Agency.
Uh-huh. Yeah, they research you, that's okay.
Yeah, and I was like...
But this is the government going after people. We're taking people to court, and we're looking for ways to put them away, like they did to Manafort.
Well,
And
Manafort was involved in $50 million worth of tax evasion and financial fraud.
Manafort was given 3 times the sentence that a person normally gets, and he was prosecuted for not registering as somebody working with a foreign agency, something that has only been prosecuted 6 times in the past 70 years.
I don't know whether it was
No,
this
no, let that sink in. He was working for a country and didn't register. I think it was the Ukraine. Now, he didn't fill out some paperwork, and they've only prosecuted 6 people for this in the past 70 years. So everybody in Washington now that didn't fill out some paperwork is going to go to jail, according to you.
Manafort, no, hold on. Manafort laundered Manafort was hit with $24 million in penalties. He avoided taxes on at least $18 million. He laundered $18 million, and I've heard other numbers because I don't know all the things he did, but his crimes involved fraud involving $50 million.
So
Okay,
my question
okay,
to both of you real quick is,
wait.
Do you think Manafort would be in jail right now if he hadn't been in the Trump administration? Trump wouldn't have won?
I don't know.
Actually, thank you, Camille. First of all, I wanted to mention that Al Capone did 11 years for, the prosecutor asked 25 years for Manafort for the same thing, for problems with his taxes. Now, let me tell you, Manafort would not be in jail. The
24 years.
The Justice Department knew about all these things Manafort had done, and they were not prosecuting him. He was the head of Trump's campaign for 3 months. And because of that 3 months of association with Trump, this man will probably die in prison. That's the world you want to create. He was being left alone. Nobody cared about him.
Why didn't they care that he was committing tens
I don't
of
know.
millions?
They weren't prosecuting him. They were not prosecuting him, but he ended up working for Trump. And so the Democrats are going to make this guy die in prison. And he worked for Trump for 3 months. They think that this guy, he's in a wheelchair now. He's 70 years old.
69. He doesn't turn 70 for another couple months. Another month.
No, a couple days.
April.
Yeah, that's great, Rick. That's great. I'm glad you made that correction. Anyway, the point is that this man is now going to have to die in prison because he worked for the Trump campaign for 3 months. Feel good? Feel good for tax evasion? 70-year-old man?
He evaded taxes.
He evaded taxes, Rick. He should die in prison, right?
So he's getting, under the current sentence, using the figure of 18 million, which doesn't include everything he did, he's spending 1 day in jail for every $12,587 of fraud. He was found guilty of 8 charges.
It's a math issue, huh?
He was found guilty of 8 charges, and he's getting 179 days in jail for each of the 8 charges.
So he should get life in prison. He should die in prison for that.
Well, it's 47 months. Now, he gets sentenced again this
No,
week.
but the Democrats wanted him to die in prison. They wanted him to get 25 years. I heard the Democrats on the news, on CNN, and they were really pissed off that he didn't get life.
No,
I heard it. Don't say no. I heard it. I can find you the CNN reports where
they were pissed
furious.
off that he only got 1/6 of the maximum recommended sentence.
He got 3 times what you normally get for this because he worked for Trump for 3 months. So now what the Democrats
So
are
there are
saying,
people
the Democrats are saying is, if you worked for Trump we're going to find something if we can. Even if there is no law, we're going to find something and we're going to put you away. That's the world you want to live in, Rick.
So you're saying that a guy who is on the hook now for $24 million in restitution and penalties, that normally a guy who gets caught to the tune of 24 million or possibly more only goes to jail for 16 months. Prison.
I'm saying that white-collar crime of this type, he's already been in solitary for, 9 months in solitary. His health is broken. He's completely wiped out financially. And that's not enough for a Democrat. You guys, you're so compassionate, except if it's a Trump supporter, and then you want the guy to die in prison. Sorry, Rick. You Democrats are a bunch of fucking assholes.
The prosecutor.
I don't think you should die in prison for tax evasion. And by the way, none of this would be happening if he hadn't worked for Trump for 3 months, and it helps the Democrats to have somebody do something. And now they're going to go after 80 more people, including Trump's wife and children. Is that how we do things in America? And not only that, but Trump's wife and children haven't been found. There's no crime. They're just deciding that they're going to go after everything that his wife and kids have ever done. They want documents from their entire life. And that's how you want things to go. Should we go after the wife and kids of Pelosi, of all the Democrats in Congress? The husband and the children of all the Democrats that we don't like? Should we be demanding documents of every family member of every Democrat? Because that's what you want. Isn't that right, Rick?
Sure.
Okay.
How do you feel about the Covington CNN situation?
The kid who went to, Covington High School? The smirky kid?
Yeah,
All
he
right.
smirked.
Now, wait a second. Okay, so
You hate him for that,
No,
right?
here's the deal. Like,
You hate him for smirking, don't you? You hate that kid.
No, let me say what I think.
Oh, okay.
All right, so...
He's suing CNN.
All right, so the kid who was caught
Lower
on
your head,
tape,
lower your head.
kind of smirking at the Native American guy,
Yeah.
says he was treated unfairly, I guess, and he's suing CNN for what, $250 million?
Yeah.
All right, so here's what I think
Turn your
about
head
the
more
kid.
this way.
That he's probably in the, I'd say that, I don't know, 10% of a student body. He's basically the James Spader character in the John Hughes movies of the 80s.
I don't think anybody knows who that is.
Well,
Rick.
not our viewers, because they're younger than that, but like, he's the cocky, he's not Billy Zabka, who beat the shit out of the Karate Kid. But he's I don't know, he's a little bit Kavanaugh-ish. He's a cocky kid he's not the cockiest kid in the world. I'd say that, if he were on a sports team, I don't know if he is or not, he'd be like among the 10% he'd be in the top 10% smirkiest kids
Lower your head.
on the team.
Can you not move your head?
Okay. So, yeah, he was characterized as smirking, and he's suing for $250 million. He's suing somebody else, Washington Post, too.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, good luck to him. Maybe, he's a smirky kid. A lot of kids in high school are smirky kids. A lot of kids are kind of a-holes.
What was he supposed to do, Rick?
I don't know, but
You're mad at him for smirking, huh?
just...
You hope he gets what he deserves because he smirked, right?
I'm hoping he doesn't get $250 million.
Why not?
Why does he deserve $250 million for being shown smirking on TV?
Because in the United States, we don't use the media. We don't use the biggest, one of the biggest networks and one of the biggest newspapers to crucify a kid for not doing anything, for smiling. And they did. They crucified that kid. And I hope those networks and papers are fined to the furthest extent of the law. And I would make me happy if they were put out of business for being such fucking assholes. What did that kid do? He's standing there and this goddamn Native American comes up and is harassing him, and he has the temerity to smile, and those sons of bitches at the Washington Post
Actually,
and
no.
CNN decide that they're going to make him into a monster.
He's not a monster.
I hope that he gets the $250 million, and I hope heads roll.
A, not going to happen. But
What do you mean not going to happen? How
He's not
the
gonna
fuck
get-
do you know?
because it's going to.
What? Who are you, Clarence Darrow?
Yeah, I mean, when was the last time somebody got $250 million?
It happens all the time. If there's justice in this world, they will.
When was the last
They
time-
will punish those damn papers.
To the tune of $250 million.
I hope so.
And
And
the Indian guy wasn't.
why did they have to persecute this poor kid? What had he done? It's so rotten. It's so dirty, and you love it because he smirked.
Does Ilya Omar smirk when she?
Hold on, no, hold on. Let us fucking.
When she talks, man. Force a smirk or
Just all right. The kid. So the kid smirked, and he was
And you
shown
want him
smirk.
punished for that. He's a monster to you, right? You want him punished.
He's not
for
a
that.
monster. He's just kind of a dick.
He's a dick.
He is a
He's
dick.
a dick. Why is he a dick, Rick? Why is he a dick?
Because
So you're proving CNN was able to convince a typical brainwashed Democrat that this kid was a dick.
he's a dick.
So he
A
deserves $250 million because they brainwashed you and millions of other zombies into thinking he was a dick. That's why he's going to get
He's a
$250
dick. I
million.
spent more time in high school than just about anybody. I know dicks, and the
Okay.
kid's a fucking dick.
Okay, that's why he deserves this money. You've proven it.
What, is he a fucking saint? No, he's kind of a cocky
Rick,
asshole.
Rick, you just called him an asshole.
He is kind
This
of an
kid
asshole.
was living his life.
He
He
had-
was giving no harm to anybody, and now Rick thinks he's an asshole
He's kind of an asshole.
because the media crucified him. That's why he's getting
Because
$250
I watched
million.
the video like 8 times.
Yeah, and they selectively edited that so that they would turn this kid into a monster.
He's not a monster, he's
no,
just
no,
kind
no,
of a
no,
dick.
he's a dick. He's an asshole, right, Rick? So you bought it. You bought it. You made his case. Do you understand? Let it sink in. Let it sink in. Light bulbs going off. You have been convinced, don't interrupt me, by CNN, that he's a dick and an asshole. This poor 17-year-old kid that did nothing to anybody. And that's why he deserves $250 million.
Some 17-year-old kids are a little bit of an asshole and a dick.
Okay.
Will
okay.
he always be a dick?
All right.
I don't know.
No.
His
Let-
parents,
okay.
instead of
Okay,
like
he's an asshole.
his parents,
He's an asshole.
His parents hire a PR firm, and then they sue for $250 million.
Good.
My guess is
good.
that
Why is he an asshole?
30 seconds.
because he fucking was. He starts getting in a hassle with these lunatic.
He was just standing there.
He gets it in.
He was just standing there.
He puts himself in the middle.
No. He was just standing there. The Indian came up to him.
Because the Indian thinks there's going to be trouble between.
I don't care why the Indian did it. I want to know what he did that makes you think he's an asshole.
Because he looks like a cocky, smirky asshole because it was caught on tape.
So he looks like a cocky, smirky asshole. You don't like the way he smiled.
It's what was the day? It was.
Why is he an asshole?
Because of his whole fucking attitude.
His
which you
attitude.
can
How
see
do you
on
know?
tape.
Because what was his attitude? He smiled. You didn't like the way he smiled.